Lloyd was an orphan child whom the world's most powerful Assaring wizard had adopted, and he decided to become an adventurer. But his party kicked him out because he was considered a useless support mage. However, no one knew, except his teacher, that Lloyd was actually the chosen hero who would defeat the Demon King in the future. When Lloyd was young, his village was destroyed in an attack by the Demon King, but he survived, and an Assaring magician named Merlin chose him. It seemed that Merlin had also lost someone dear in that battle. To ease her pain, she adopted Lloyd and made him her student. Merlin takes him to her home, and the first thing she does is create a fireball from the air. Then she tells Lloyd that if he can't light a fire with magic by evening, he won't get dinner. Lloyd tries repeatedly, works hard to create fire, and as soon as he succeeds, he runs joyfully to show his teacher. Merlin, slightly pleased, says, well done, but immediately extinguishes his small fire and teases him a bit. She says he still has a lot to learn. After that, she teaches him the magic of summoning water from the ground. She controls a statue and captures Lloyd. Then she makes the statue even bigger, saying it still lacks scale. Then she breaks the statue, and Lloyd falls to the ground. But Lloyd is a naive boy, so he fully believes Merlin's words and promises to work harder to overcome his shortcomings. A few days later, Merlin has a terrible hangover, and Lloyd uses his magic to cure her. As soon as Merlin recovers, she hugs Lloyd to thank him, but the next moment, she drags him outside to practice magic. Time passes, and one night Merlin is reading some old books with a troubled and pained expression. Just then, Lloyd comes to call her for dinner, and as she gets up, a book falls from her hands. Lloyd helps her pick up the book, but as soon as his hand touches it, all the information in the book transfers to his mind, and he faints right there. Merlin is shaken seeing this, because Lloyd learned an ancient magic just by touching the book, which is proof that he has the qualities to become the chosen one. This brings back some old painful memories in Merlin's mind, and she doesn't want Lloyd to repeat the same mistakes she once made. That night, while Lloyd is peacefully sleeping, Merlin goes to his room and places a magical spell on his forehead, sealing a knowledge of ancient magic inside his mind because she doesn't want Lloyd to become too proud of his power. All this was to ensure he doesn't go down that dangerous path. Merlin suggests that he become a white mage whose main job is to support other adventurers. She teaches him recovery magic, which helps flowers grow quickly, and then, to show the difference between their levels, she revives a withered tree with a snap of her fingers. After that, Merlin continues to teach him new magic and other things, but whenever something related to ancient magic comes up, she says there's no need for him to learn it because ancient magic ended hundreds of years ago, and tells him to return home within a week. Using her magic, she doesn't give him a chance to say anything and immediately disappears from there. Lloyd is left shocked and scared. Right after, a fairy-like monster appears, and Lloyd barely escapes by climbing a tree. He realizes that with a white mage's spells, he can't defeat the monster, so his only option is to reach home while avoiding every danger.
First, he uses his magic sense to locate the house and starts walking in that direction. On the way, he uses magic to ripen fruits so he can eat something. At night, he tries to create new spells to keep himself safe. He is alone, continuing his dangerous journey. He uses new magic to help him find food and run faster. The next day, he narrowly escapes a giant spider-like monster, but thanks to his running magic, he gets away. Lloyd uses that spell until he reaches home, and as soon as he reaches the doorstep, he faints from exhaustion. Time passes quickly, and Lloyd becomes a young man. When he gets a magazine about the city, he starts feeling curious about exploring the outside world. Here, Merlin's behavior has also changed. Now she doesn't drag him for magic practice, but pulls him away from his daily chores to force him to create new magic. She comes up with completely random optional ideas and tells Lloyd to work on them all night. But Lloyd can't handle so much stress. One night, he decides to run away from home to explore the world. The next morning, Merlin sees that Lloyd is not in his room. Only a city magazine is lying on the desk. Then she realizes that her little child has grown up so much that his youth has begun. Meanwhile, Lloyd reaches the city and gets lost in its beauty and hustle. He spends all the badges he had on food. Then he thinks about how to earn more badges. Just then, a recruitment notice for an adventurer party hits him in the face. He doesn't even notice that someone is watching him. He decides to try becoming an adventurer. After joining that party, his first mission is to fight a cyclops, and he is very excited because he has never seen anyone fight such a strong monster. The Cyclops is pushing back Alan, who is the party's leader and main attacker. Alan tells the healer to cast a healing spell. Then Lloyd also helps by immediately casting a support spell on all party members, but no one even notices it. The archer quickly shoots an arrow into the Cyclops' eye, blinding it. When the Cyclops attacks the archer, Rena, who is the group's tank, rushes to block the attack. Rena is shocked because she doesn't feel any impact from the punch. By then, the party's mage binds the Cyclops, giving Alan the chance to finish it off in one go. Because of this, Alan becomes a star overnight, and people start calling him a hero. On the other hand, Lloyd is completely ignored and he gets only small change because he is a weak white mage. He accepts the money because he feels that's all he deserves. When Alan says, "Let's celebrate the victory," Lloyd makes an excuse right away because he doesn't drink. Lloyd declines Alan's offer, but it doesn't matter to Alan because he doesn't consider Lloyd part of the group. Alan says all white mages are useless, but they have to keep one because of guild rules, and whether it's Lloyd or someone else, it makes no difference. But Rena feels there's something everyone is ignoring, and she gets very curious about Lloyd. On the other side, the man keeping an eye on Lloyd turns out to be Merlin's spy, who gives her every update about her student. Merlin says that as long as Lloyd doesn't get too reckless, she's not worried about him. The spy asks if she regrets her past. Merlin suppresses her feelings, and she remembers the day when, under Hero Sibyl's leadership, she fought the Demon Lord with her party. The Demon Lord couldn't defeat them, so he blew himself up, destroying an entire city with him. Hero Sibyl used ancient magic to revive all the people killed in the Demon Lord's attack, but it cost her life. Sibyl's death was a huge shock for Merlin, and when she adopted Lloyd, it was only as an emotional support. She never thought he would become a chosen one just like Sibyl. Merlin swears she won't repeat her old mistakes and will do whatever is necessary to keep Lloyd safe. Back in the city, Alan quickly becomes famous for defeating powerful monsters, which was actually possible because of Lloyd's support, but no one realizes it.
Only Rena has a slight suspicion. One night, Alan gets a request from soldiers to take down some golems that are killing their guards at a patrol point. Alan immediately accepts the mission, thinking it will be easy. He reaches the patrol point with his party, and Lloyd uses his search magic to tell them they need to go inside a waterfall to fight the golems. When they go inside, Alan fights the golems, but a summoner keeps summoning new ones. Lloyd realizes the summoner is using a magic stone to create new golems. He quickly buffs the archer and tells him to attack the summoner. The archer follows his advice, and his arrow somehow curves around a pillar and hits the summoner in the chest. After that, Lloyd tells him to teleport his magic staff to him, and he immediately seals it. Alan doesn't like this because he thinks only he can give orders to his party. Then he shifts his focus back to the golem. Lloyd warns him that the golem is now out of control because its master is dead. Alan doesn't listen and moves forward. Lloyd has to use a special magic to reach Alan quickly and save him from the golem's attack. Alan gets angry, but then the golem weakens, allowing Alan to kill it. Once the mission is over, Alan immediately kicks Lloyd out of the party, saying he's useless and always hides in the back. Lloyd, who has been thinking of himself as weak and lacking skills, accepts this decision without protest. He tries to find another party, but no one has a spot for him, and he becomes very disappointed. Just then, a girl is looking for a white mage at the harbor, but the receptionist tells her it's hard to find someone with her conditions, and when no other option is left, the receptionist points to Lloyd. As the girl with pink hair confirms that he is a white mage and not in any team, she immediately takes him with her. It turns out that the pink-haired girl, Evie, is a member of an Asarang adventurer party, and they had taken a mission to take down some bandits. With their teamwork and superior strength, they easily defeated the bandits and caught their boss. But the boss used a secret move and summoned a giant stone golem to fight them. Evie's party realized that magic wasn't affecting the golem, and normal attacks weren't working either. Then, Evie decided to face it herself. As the party's strongest attacker, she rushes at the golem at full speed and attacks with full power, but only leaves a small scratch. She has to retreat and dodge the golem's attack. Then she tells her party's white mage to buff her. The white mage is lost in her thoughts for a moment and takes a bit to understand Evie's command. Luckily, she casts an attack-boosting spell in time, allowing Evie to defeat the golem with her next attack. After they arrest all the bandits, Evie talks to the white mage, Clum, who apologizes because her attention drifted for a moment and it could have cost Evie her life. Evie tells her not to overthink it because she knows Clum is going through some serious personal issues. Evie asks how things are at her home.
Then Clum suddenly gives her resignation to Evie because she needs a break to take care of her sick sister. The story returns to the present moment where Evie, excited, grabs Lloyd's hand and takes him to her base. Her party members are shocked for a moment, trying to figure out if Evie really found a white mage, as they were sure she would fail. Then, Evie introduces Lloyd to everyone, but doesn't even tell them his name. After that, she introduces her party members to Lloyd, including Dagus, who is a shield user, Cross, who is an archer, and Silica, who is a mage. Finally, she introduces herself as a swordsman and the team's leader, and welcomes Lloyd to their party. Lloyd asks her, wait, this is all fine, but when did I say I'm joining your party? Evie gets a bit confused because she didn't realize she never asked Lloyd the question. Dagus and Silica immediately understand that Evie just dragged this stranger to the base in her excitement without any discussion. Lloyd asks, then why didn't you give this quest to another party? Dagus tells him it's not possible because it's an A-rank quest, and only A-rank or higher parties can take such quests. But right now, all high-rank parties are out of the city, and only their S-rank party can accept this mission.
Lloyd is shocked to hear that he's standing in front of S-rank adventurers. He really wants to help them, but for a moment, his demotivation makes him feel that he's too weak and useless. But then Evie suddenly speaks up for him and tells her party members that they should at least give Lloyd a chance to prove his abilities before rejecting him. Then they take him to the jungle to see his skills, and Lloyd feels terrible thinking he'll disappoint everyone. Evie keeps telling him to do something, and Dagus says to at least tell the new guy which spells to cast because he looks very nervous. Then Evie tells Lloyd to cast ancient mana magic on everyone, but Cross and Silica think it's impossible, as only a highly skilled white mage could do that. But Lloyd is stunned because what Evie called the hardest task in the world is like casting a simple spell for him. He asks her, "Are you sure this is the test I need to pass to join your party?" And Evie says yes. The other party members tell Lloyd that if he can't do it, he doesn't need to pretend because they know it's very difficult. But Lloyd says he can do it. He immediately pulls his staff from a dimensional store, and just seeing this shocks everyone. Then he casts 5 different types of ancient mana spells on them all at once, and they don't even realize how quickly he does it. Evie asks him, "Where did you get that staff from?" So Lloyd tells her about the storage spell he uses to keep things. Then Lloyd asks if Lloyd explains that he thought casting just one spell on everyone was a very basic test, so he decided to do something extra and show what he could do. Evie and the others are so shocked that they can't even respond, and Lloyd thinks maybe everyone is angry with him. He sends his staff back to storage and says, "I understand that I'm not worthy of being your party's white mage." He apologizes for wasting their time and starts to leave. But then Evie stops him. She finally asks him about his previous work experience, and Lloyd shocks everyone by saying he was kicked out of a hero's party because he was too weak. Evie and the others are stunned, wondering what the hero's party could want that they called someone like Lloyd weak, when they've never seen anyone cast 5 different ancient mana spells at once. When Lloyd still says he's weak, Cross gets even more stressed about his standards. "Haha, you call this weak? If I had this kind of weakness, I'd be somewhere else entirely." Lloyd quickly changes the topic and asks why they don't call their party's white mage back. Evie explains that Clum's sister is very sick, and she was taking care of her while doing adventure work, which negatively affected her, and she couldn't handle both tasks, so she decided to take a break from adventuring. Daga says they can complete most quests without her, but advanced quests are very difficult, and they definitely need a white mage. Then everyone starts worrying about Clum because even though she left the party, she's still their friend, and now he decides he'll give it a try. He tells Evie to take him to Clum's house, and Evie takes him there. Clum, who looks very thin and tired, opens the door and is surprised to see her friends. After going inside, Lloyd immediately gets to work. He asks Clum in detail about her sister's condition, and Clum says that she and her sister Sylvie used to go on adventures together. But one day, Sylvie got hurt during a mission and has been sick since then. Lloyd asks about the symptoms, and Clum says she can't explain it in words, so she thinks it's better to show him. As soon as Clum opens Sylvie's room door, an intense mana comes out. Then Clum removes her sister's blanket and shows that Sylvie's arms and legs have turned into reverse magic stone. She says Sylvie's mana has gone out of control and her condition is worsening day by day. Clum is scared that her sister won't live much longer. Then Lloyd tells her he wants to help her. He says he has a theory that maybe Sylvie can be made normal if it's correct, but Clum doesn't believe him because she had called many expert healers before,
and they also said there's no cure for Sylvie's condition. But Lloyd explains that it's possible Sylvie got hurt by a high-purity magic stone, which is why her body is turning into a magic stone. He asks Clum if Sylvie got hurt in a place where the mana density was very high. Clum answers yes, saying they were on a mission to extract a magic stone from a cave. Lloyd tells her to show the wound mark, and when Clum shows the part of Sylvie's body that is turned into a magic stone, Lloyd is completely sure that's where the problem started. Clum asks him how he knows all this, and Lloyd replies that he learned it from his master.
Evie then tells Clum to trust Lloyd this time, and Clum decides to give him a chance. Lloyd immediately casts a spell that absorbs the intense mana from Sylvie's body, but it's very difficult for him to handle. Still, he completes the first step and tells Clum that he needed to reduce Sylvie's mana to almost 0 because otherwise treating her would be meaningless. He says he'll continue treating her while absorbing her mana and casts another spell to start the healing. Clum realizes this isn't a normal healing spell, and Lloyd explains that yes, it's a more powerful version than a normal healing spell, which isn't even that special for him, but it gives him the strength to burn the mana being absorbed from Sylvie's body. Hearing this, Clum is completely speechless. She asks if Lloyd is doing something special. Clum replies that he's using 2 new spells he created himself and handling such intense mana which would be impossible even for the greatest white mages. Soon, Lloyd's technique works and Sylvie's petrified body slowly starts becoming normal. Sylvie regains consciousness and Clum, seeing her, breaks down in tears of joy. A little later, Clum tells Evie and Lloyd that once her sister is fully recovered, they'll go on adventures together again, and Clum wants Lloyd to join their party in her place. Lloyd says he's not that capable, but this goes over Clum's head, and she says he just needs to listen to his heart. After that, Evie and everyone throw a small party to celebrate Sylvie's recovery and thank Lloyd, while Lloyd still thinks he doesn't deserve all this. But when he sees how kindly everyone is treating him, even without knowing him well, he nervously asks if he can join their party, even if he doesn't have much strength. Everyone is happy to see the change in his thinking and joyfully welcomes him into their party. So friends, that's all for today's video. Tell us in the comments how you liked the anime and whether its part 2 is good or not.